Here's an example of setting a soaring task, or you can fly at VFR power if you wanted to, using B21 Task Planner. And the idea is we're going to look for ridge lift, try and plan it around ridge lift, because that's all that's available for gliding in Microsoft Flight Simulator at the moment. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the topo map. Actually, Stamen terrain is pretty good for the Alps. Also, just change it to that. But you can't zoom in as far with Stamen terrain as you can. If I zoom in, you'll see the tiles disappear. And I've looked at this already. I've got this idea that Klagenfurt, which is a new, in World Update 6, it's a new airport. So I thought that's kind of worth flying to. It's got quite a scenic approach, either along this river or this river. I thought maybe I'll go for this one. And it is better for us at the moment, particularly, to launch from paved runways, even in a glider. The grass is too long. It's like launching from a wheat field if you launch from a grass airstrip. That's causing us a problem with the AS-33 collision, with this collision detector, the fuselage. It's hitting the grass. That's because of the way the glider is so close to the ground. It doesn't affect most planes. Okay, so using satellite image, this airport here, Nickelsdorf Airport, if I zoom in on satellite, you'll see it has a paved runway. Okay, so I'm going to set that as the start. I'm going to set, well, I'll explain why if I put this back on, say, topo map. The idea is, looking at it, this Klagenfurt here, from Nickelsdorf, we can, if I set the wind from the south, this ridge, or these mountain sides are going to work, and we'll be able to use these because the wind will be blowing from the south. We're going to have ridge lift on these mountain sides here, and we'll have ridge lift along here. I don't think these things are high. It'd be nice to fly in along this valley, but this, I've just checked the heights already. These things are not that high. We might find out. I'm actually going to fly this as well. I'll do another video of me flying this, but I'm assuming we will, to get to Klagenfurt here, we'll be flying along this valley here, and what I'll do is I'll set this airport as a waypoint to kind of encourage people to do it, I think. So it's a combination of setting a soaring task, but also trying to make it a bit of a soaring mission. And I'll keep things super simple. I'm going to set the wind 16 knots from 180 from the south, so we know exactly where it's kind of coming from. So Nickelsdorf to Klagenfurt. Just check the distance, 112 kilometers. That's fine. I was hoping for not much over 100 for really short, simple flights. 112 will be okay. You're going to see that's going to get it a little bit longer as I add in other waypoints. But first of all, let's just look at this waypoint. The runways, if the wind is from the south, we're going to want to take off coming down this way, which is about 120. So whatever that is, we're going to find out. Okay, so if I click here, because this is an Microsoft Flight Simulator airport, as you can see in that pop-up there. It therefore has the runways available. I'm going to choose one. I don't think you can see this drop down as the way the video recording works. So it is 120. There you go. I've just clicked on 120, chosen. So we should launch from there, which means we'll be pointing in the right direction for the wind. I'm going to set the start line somewhere other than the airport. Let's say we will start from back here. It's going to make the task a bit longer, but we're going to be taking a power launch up anyway. I'll set the start line to there. Let's call it start. I'm going to limit the start height to 5,000 feet. Like that, but it is a start. And I'll set the radius at 1,000 meters. Okay. So there you go, we've set the start. Now I actually wanted it to be that bridge. You can drag any of these waypoints around. All the changes then is their location, which is a bit confusing. So if you take Nicholasdorf Airport and move it around, it will still be called Nicholasdorf Airport until you edit it. The design of this flight planner is you can edit pretty much anything. I find it annoying with flight planners where it doesn't let you change stuff, unless you click on the right thing. Okay, so we've got an airport launch. We're going to launch out that way. Power motor up. We're going to have wind from the south, remember, so this ridge is going to be working. We're going to get up to 5,000 feet, come through the start. I'm going to say technically when we come through the start, we're going to probably come through at this end because we want to be nearer to the ridge lift that we're going to come down to. We could, in theory, start right from over here if we wanted to. That's actually less optimal. It's further from the ridges. So yeah, and in a real competition, everybody would be starting right from the tip here to maximise the chances. I'll set a waypoint and see what we've got to work with here. I'm assuming we want to kind of encourage people to fly along these ridges, so there'll be a certain consistency. I'll set Seaboden. Anywhere will do. There's a waypoint. I'm not, and it's going to default to a 500 meter radius, and I'm not going to set extra limits on it. There's no particular reason to, in my opinion. And then I'm going to set a waypoint down here. I'm assuming people are going to be following this ridge. And I'm going to try and make it simple for everybody. Alright, so see this bridge there? That's the highway bridge. Moving that around. Of the A10. Yes, it says up there. It's the A10 highway. The bridge over the Drow River. Since Freistraits and the Drow. Drow is the name of this river, so it's the A10 Drow Bridge. So I shall rename that. Again, I'm not going to set any special limits on it. Okay, so we have Nicholasdorf Airport, start waypoint, Seaboden, A10 Drow Bridge, then Klagenfurt, but I would like, that's nice, people can still go up here. I guess they can do either, whichever works better. Personally, I think I'm much more likely to go up here. This looks like much more, but it might be overly cautious. It's a much better defined ridge, and you've got to get enough height. Remember, when you're coming in this way, that will then be slightly into wind, with the wind from the south. And I'm going to set a finish line in addition to the airport we're going to land at. So I've got A10 Drow Bridge already selected, so when you add a waypoint, it always adds the waypoint over whichever one you've currently got selected. Okay, so I've selected that one. So when I click here, remember the wind's coming up from here, so we're going to want to land this way. Give us a slight, there's going to be a major crosswind, but it's only going to be, I'm going to set it at 14 knots. And then if I click here, so I'm going to drag that around, making, oh, that's good anyway. And then I can call that finish. And I'm going to check the finish box. And I'll give it a 1000 meter radius. Here's where it's possibly legit. I'm still not overly fussed, but you could set a minimum altitude. So if you know the airport is at 1460 feet, then you could set a minimum altitude of 1510 feet, and you say you've got to come in at least 50 feet. You can't kind of scrape in. You've got to be at least 50 feet above the ground. But I'm just not that fast, so I'm going to do it. Okay, so there you go. We've got a completed task. Next off, we did a separate start point. You can see this has been flagged as the start point because we checked the start box. This has been flagged as the finish point because we checked the finish box. So this distance calculation is simply from start to finish. It's not counting Klagenfurt or Nicholasdorf. We'll be interested to see Klagenfurt. It is one of the airports that was updated in World Update 6. Plus this terrain that we're going to be flying through has been updated as well. So that is pretty much it. I've only changed the radius on the start and the finish and set the maximum altitude on the start. Click download flight plan. There you go, LOKL to LOWK.plan, and then I'm going to put that in the correct Microsoft Flight Simulator folder where the rest of the flight plans are, and then I'm going to load it into Microsoft Flight Simulator.